Hello everybody. Thank you Mohit for inviting over me for this open wall talks. It's a great initiative by NJ Studios, and as I have uh, watched MJ Studios grow and assist students in their endeavors in life, it's a real pleasure to be here with you and discussing about various aspects of learning ability and obviously students first. That's what we are all about. So there is this very interesting question that once I had. There was this entire batch of mechanical engineering students, and you know how they are. They're the most creative ones I find. So one of them asked me, ma'am, I smoke quite a lot, and should I stop smoking? And the next day was the interview. So I said, believe me, had you come to me in my clinic, I would have said immediately stop smoking if you want to lead a good life. But if you're talking about tomorrow, have your pack of cigarettes ready. So as you're saying, it's an open wall. So I can let go of the barricades of what should do's and don'ts. So there are my 3 pointers. Number one, follow your passion, but follow it with your passion. Number two, things which you enjoy might not be your money earners. And the third thing that I will say, that grow with intelligence, grow with emotional intelligence, grow with social intelligence.
Let us welcome Mahua Roy, the counselor, a consultant related to mental health, and her expertise lies in career employability, relationship management, and how we can adjust our personal and work life. And she is doing this from last 20 good years. So welcome Mahua ma'am to the Open Walls. IQ plus EQ have become EIQ. Why it is suddenly that has become so important that students want to learn this thing as a subject, but I doubt it is not a subject. So please help us out on this thing. What is EQ?
Okay, so till recently, I should say, till the beginning of this era, in fact, so we used to talk about people being intelligent or having good IQ. So IQ would actually be a measurable unit for people who would excel in their academics, and like they will do very good with numbers, getting numbers and all that. But suddenly, like as industries grew and work and employability skills were needed over and over again in the industry and corporates and organizations and institutes, it was seen that teamwork and management of your own emotional skills and along with that also important things like communication, and then speaking to people, how to communicate, when to communicate, and how to motivate self. These all factors by and by became very important. When we look at organizations and when we look at this entire scene of career development and employability skills, what we see basically is that we need people who are skilled at those particular, you say hard skills. Okay. So, for example, if anybody is going to work in IT, that person would need to be very good in, say, either CS or any engineering stream if they are working at the tech side. But it was seen that every organization needed good teamwork. So what do we really mean by this teamwork? So there will be one leader and there will be a team and there should be a coordination and there should be, people should be communicating with each other, understanding each other, and less on, say, rivalry, or, less about feeling bad about things, or, not being able to express, and many other factors like that. So then it became very important to understand that it is not only the IQ, the intelligent quotient of a person that matters. It was the emotional quotient of a person that also has started mattering a lot. You see, there has been a change in our employability scenario. This entire segment of career and employability now has kind of shifted to being more of a passion rather than being of a security. So we are actually, if we can look at it, we have already crossed the first rung of the Maslow's. We have moved on to the second now. So that's when the EQ became very important. That now what? Now people are there, they have good degrees, they have good marks, and now they join organization, and if they do not feel emotionally secure, at a drop of a hat they think of quitting, and they would not, they would not even finish their tenure. So then the sustainability factors became questionable. That who can sustain, who would, be in that rat race, which is not a need for them, but it's a way of, procuring their ambition. They're going forward in their career. So then this emotional intelligence, it became very important. That it's not only about the studies, it's about your awareness about self and the society. It's about the awareness and the, regulation of self and how you are with others. It's about empathy towards others. It's about motivating yourself and the people around you. It's about your social skills, what to say, when to say, how to behave, how to be with people, how to not be with people, how to manage emotions, how to control outbursts. All these became very important. And that's when we saw this revival and, EIQ, as you put it, that's coming up.
So how this EIQ is going to affect our job choices, because this is the recruitment season just started, and students are looking at we have cleared our IQ test. How and why these companies are focusing on EQ, we have understood that. Now how this EIQ is going to affect our job choices, what we have.
So if we talk about India, we have a happy scenario and we also have a bit of a sad scenario. So in India, as you already know, Mohit, and I think both of us, we have discussed it multiple times, that how every neighbor becomes a consultant in career. Everybody will come and say, कि Sharma ji ke bete wala jo syndrome that we talk about often, like, yes, absolutely, that his son has done this, so my son also should be in that particular industry. So what happens is that when we are talking about job and job roles, EQ becomes very important. So let me give you one very base example. So suppose a person wants to be a doctor. So uh, they work very hard, say for 5 years, 6 years, going for the exams and sitting for the exams, all very good. Now comes the time when he has got a degree and he's ready to be in the clinics. If that person is going to be in the clinic and is going to speak to the patient, that person needs to understand about empathy, awareness about self, how much patience that person can have, communication styles, how much he can communicate with the patient, what to say to them, how to pacify them. Because if a patient comes to a doctor and just by looking at the doctor, he or she feels very depressed or very sad, there is something that we know as a placebo effect. So even the medicines that the doctor may prescribe will become a question in that patient's mind. We don't want that situation. So I don't know whether you ever had this experience, but I distinctly remember going in for a surgery and seeing a very happy, cheerful doctor who just enters and wears the gloves and just says, "Okay, Mohua, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll be over in 12 minutes." And you suddenly feel okay, and you just need to close my eyes and everything will be good again. So that particular doctor has a very high EQ. And that particular doctor will certainly be recommended by patients to other people. I'm not even talking about job success. It is also being how good you are at your work. So for a teacher, for example, it's not only enough, you know that, I know that, it's not only enough to be in the classroom and to know how to give a lecture and how to write it on the board. When different batches come, we need to connect. And it's very important to mentally connect. So what provides that, that particular knowledge to us? It is through emotional intelligence that we are attuned to the needs of the others. So every job profile, apart from the skill sets that the people must have, it always is checked in the interviews, in the process, that whether the person is emotionally intelligent, emotionally, is he balanced or not. So it is in the process of the questioning that we integrate certain questions which test these quotients.
Correct. I was coming to that point. That means that you want to emphasize on that personality factors affect EIQ, isn't it? Are what we are as a person, how our personality is, that will tell us that how we are going to grow in that particular field we have chosen for ourselves as a career.
Absolutely. Because you see, what are personality factors? How do we come up with personality factors? So science and psychology say that there are 16 personality factors. When we go into cross sections combining, there are many, many more. But we stick to somewhere the 16 personality factors, and as we know, very famously used tools also specify that, these are the personality factors. But how do we really know a person has this kind of personality? Is it only the testing? No, there are a lot of things that contribute to a person's personality. So it will be things like right from the birth, how that person has been treated as a child in the family, how, what kind of parenting did the child get, what kind of educational background did the child have, what kind of peer group did the child have. When we have a person sitting in front of us for the interview, these are, he or she or they are representing each and every aspect of their own lives. Whether this person likes to play football or badminton. It's a very, I'll give you that example, and it's wonderful to, if you think like that. So what would a person playing badminton mean? It would mean that he or she is very good, very motivated, but more than a team, they are motivated by individual performances. But if somebody comes and says, oh, I love football, what clicks in your mind immediately? So he knows how to be with a team. If somebody comes and says, okay, I love cricket, for days I would play cricket and my mother would start scolding me, we would immediately think, cricket, team game. So they know how to abide by the discipline, the leadership, how to listen to people, to instructions. So even the choice of games, the choice of hobbies, if somebody, if you ask them what you do in your free time, and the person says, oh, I love cycling. Good. Do you cycle alone or do you cycle, are you in competitive cycling? Are you cycling with others? These are the things which indicate what kind of personality a person has. Okay. Now, when we look at that person, suppose the person, as we see examples nowadays, being a counselor, I come across so many of these cases. So as we see, maybe an only child, parents are very ambitious for the child, and the child studies and studies a lot. But then the child has never been, the child was not encouraged to go and play with others. The child was told that, talking to the friends is wasting time, or rather, going out, watching a movie, it's wastage of time. Or I'll come with another very famous things that parents tell. I am your friend. Be friendly with me. So a mother being a friend or a father being a friend is not same as having a peer group. So when I go for my work in an organization, in corporate, I'm not looking for a parental figure. I'm not looking, or I'm not protected by a mother. I'm not protected by a father. Do I know enough of peer groups? Do I have the emotional intelligence to be with the same age people and speak to them, communicate with them, either be try to convince them or be convinced by their argument, not have an unpeace, as we say. So that indicates towards the personality factors going in hand with growth of emotional intelligence in a particular person.
So, overall, the thing is that EIQ is something which is going to stay here, isn't it?
Yes. If you're talking about sustainable career development, if somebody wants to be with their passion, definitely they need to connect with EIQ. And it's very interesting thing to note that it's not only for the organizations, even people who are on their lone journey to achieving their passion. For example, I'll give you the examples of travel bloggers, travel vloggers, people who are into web, they're working with the websites, they're working alone. They're sitting at home and they're working alone, but they really need to be connected to the subjects, their customers, their clients, and they need to be able to read the emotions that is imparted virtually. So if you and I are talking over the screen, you need to judge what kind of speaker I am to put the questions to me. And I need to judge what kind of an interviewer you are to make my answers complete. Even this is an emotional intelligence.
So, in this open walls, what is something you want to say to us as a student, to the freshers who are there out in the market and in search of their ideal job? What can be an open wall message to them, maybe in a few words?
As you're saying, it's an open wall, so I can let go of the barricades of what should do's and don'ts. Okay, so there are my 3 pointers. Number one, follow your passion, but follow it with your passion. Don't keep on saying things that I'm passionate about it and not have the passion and the diligence to pursue your passion. Number two, things which you enjoy might not be your money earners. So if you want to keep things, for example, if you want to keep a hobby and you say that I sing very well, you first have to make up your mind whether you want to monetize your hobbies. If not, then earn enough money to support your hobby. It is not mandatory to be passionate about your job and the source of your monetization and think about it in terms of I love my job because it's my passion. No, you can always support your passion by monetizing some other skills that you have. So don't be caught in that trap that you have to love everything that you monetize. Of course, the love comes when money comes, but then that is. And the third thing that I will say, that grow with intelligence, grow with emotional intelligence, grow with social intelligence. Today what we need is more than the skills, is that particular assessment of which skills are required and be a smart worker rather than being working a lot and overloading yourself.
True that, true that, true that. Yes, ma'am. It
That's
was
about it.
really an open wall session because we gone beyond the walls, beyond the boundaries, and that's why we are here. That's what we want the people to know, that if we want something, what we want, we need to be going out. We need to be looking beyond these boundary walls. We need to learn, we need to relearn what we have learned, and sometimes we need to de-learn also so that new things we can learn, isn't it? Thank you,
Absolutely.
Mahua ma'am, for your precious time, and I'll come back to you again and again whenever I think that I need an open wall strategy at your end.
Thank you, Mohit, for inviting me to Open Wall. It was a wonderful feeling to come and talk about things that matters to us. And MJ Studio rocks. It's just going too great and doing great work. And you are an inspiration.
Thank you, ma'am.